Hello and welcome to another video on DesignScript. In this video I'm going to discuss looping. So looping is a means of taking several lines of code and having them repeat indefinitely until a condition is met. Now looping only works inside of imperative blocks. Again, if you don't know what imperative blocks are, watch my video on them. But basically it means that you'll have to have your code inside this kind of imperative keyword and then curly braces. And these imperative blocks return a value, so say val. Okay, so what does looping do? Well, okay, so let's say I had this value a is equal to 5, say, and I say a is equal to 5, or sorry, a plus 1, and then return a. So I have a value, I add a value into a, and then I increment it by 1, and then I return it. So if we say s equal to print val, and run this, we can see that the output is 6, right? It goes from 5, then plus 1, and so a is equal to 6. Okay, so what we can propose to do instead of that is to put this, perhaps make some sort of loop which will execute this line of code, that a is equal to a plus 1, an indefinite number of times. So we can say something like, while a is less than 20, a is equal to a plus 1. So this, as you'd expect, this will create a is equal to 20. So in other words, this loop will continue executing over and over again, incrementing a one at a time, and then when it becomes a becomes 21, it'll basically, well, sorry, when a is exactly equal to 20, then it'll essentially leave the loop. So we can actually print this, print a, as we go along, and run this again. Now we can actually see the control flow through the code. We have it a going from 5, then to 6 here, printed, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, and when it becomes 20, then a is not less than 20, a is equal to 20, exactly equal to 20, and therefore the loop exits. So that's kind of the general kind of the way while loops work, is that while it's true, while the statement is true, it'll continue executing. When it becomes false, then it breaks out of the loop. So, we can actually come up with something a bit more interesting. We can say, like in this case, it was kind of self-evident when it was going to exit from this loop, but we can say something like x is equal to 1, and then we have start equals point dot by coordinates, and it's equal to point dot by coordinates, x, x. And then line is equal to line by start point. All right. I'm going to say while the line dot length is less than 10, x is equal to x plus 1, and line is equal to line dot by start point and end point. Start, end. Oops. Since this is not inside of an associative block, we have to redeclare endpoint. And the return is going to be equal to line. All right, so we can run this. Oops. I forgot to include further geometry. All right, let's run this again. And then we have our line. So what this is showing right here is that we had this initial kind of proposition that we wanted a line that was going to be made up of individual, say, integer values. Like we're always incrementing x by 1. X is always going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. This point here, 1, 1, 1, or 2, 2, 2, or 3, 3, 3. And we want to find the first line that is equal to or greater than 10 in terms of length. So we can actually step through this to kind of get a better understanding of what's going on. So we create this initial line, and this has value 111, so you know, has a length that's definitely less than 10. And then here we're making a new endpoint, and then extending it slightly, and then we see that the line length is still less than 10, it's still less than 10, it's still less than 10, and then here, still less than 10, and at this point, though, the line length is greater than 10. And so the first line we find that's greater than 10, we return it and break out of the loop. There we are. And that's our line. So it's kind of looping in this sort of way is really useful in terms of kind of finding a condition or sort of optimizing. You might say, well, if I had some means of doing energy analysis on a building, I would say, well, make it bigger, make it taller, but I don't want the energy use to go over a certain point. So find me the biggest building I possibly can without exceeding some sort of energy use or structural condition or any of these other things. So this is kind of the basics of how to begin sort of optimizing code is with a while loop or optimization code. Okay, so well, thank you for watching the video. Yeah, bye.